Welcome to Storied Audio. She first noticed him on a Monday. Not because he was handsome, though he was in a quiet, unintentional way, but because he looked like someone carrying a story he didn't know how to tell. Every morning at 7, he stood on the far end of Platform B, reading the same worn paperback, his thumb tucked between the pages like he was afraid to lose his place in more than just the book. She didn't know his name. He didn't know hers. But routine has a way of turning strangers into something more. 4 months, they shared the same silent ritual. She'd arrive, he'd already be there, and their eyes would meet for a second too long to be accidental. A soft nod. A shy smile. Nothing more. But it was enough. It became the part of her morning she looked forward to the most. The moment she felt seen without a single word spoken. One morning everything changed. She arrived earlier than usual, breathless from running, and found him sitting on the bench instead of standing. His book was closed beside him. His elbows rested on his knees, his hands clasped, his head bowed like he was trying to hold himself together. She hesitated, then walked toward him. He didn't look up until her shadow fell across his shoes. Their eyes met, his red-rimmed, tired, vulnerable. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. He blinked, startled that she'd spoken. "Yeah. Just rough morning." She nodded, unsure if she should sit or walk away. Before she could decide, the wind blew his book off the bench. It landed at her feet, pages splaying open like a confession. He picked it up. When she handed it back, their fingers brushed, warm, trembling, lingering a second longer than politeness required. He inhaled sharply. He felt it too. "Thank you," he murmured. She smiled. "Anytime." The train arrived. They boarded separately. But that moment, those few seconds, felt like the beginning of something neither of them knew how to name. The next day he wasn't there. Or the next. Or the next. At first she told herself it was nothing. People changed routines. People move. People took vacations. But by the 5th day she felt the absence like a bruise. She found herself scanning every platform, every bench, every passing face. She even looked for the book he always carried, hoping it might appear in someone else's hands, giving her a clue. Nothing. It was ridiculous, she told herself. You can't miss someone you don't know. But she did. She missed the way he looked up the moment she arrived, like he'd been waiting. She missed the quiet comfort of his presence. She missed the possibility that lived in the space between them. By the second week she stopped pretending. He missed him. On the 12th morning she arrived early, earlier than she'd ever come before. The station was nearly empty, the sky still a soft gray. She stood where he used to stand, feeling foolish and hopeful all at once. "Excuse me," a voice said behind her. Her heart jumped. She turned. It wasn't him. Just an older man asking for directions. She gave them, then sat on the bench, disappointment settling heavy in her chest. Maybe she'd imagined everything. Maybe he'd never felt anything at all. Maybe she was just another stranger in a world full of them. She closed her eyes. "Is this seat taken?" Her eyes flew open. He stood in front of her. Same coat, same book, same gentle eyes. But something was different. He looked nervous. Hesitant. Like he wasn't sure he had the right to be there. She shook her head. "No. It's not taken." He sat beside her, leaving only a few inches between them. Close enough to feel real. Close enough to feel like coming home. "I'm sorry I disappeared," he said quietly. He swallowed. "I noticed." His eyes softened. "I hoped you would." Her breath caught. He looked down at his hands. "I lost my job 2 weeks ago. The train was part of my commute, so I stopped coming. I didn't think anyone would care." "I cared," she said before she could stop herself. He looked up, surprised. "Yeah." She nodded. "I thought something happened to you." His voice dropped. "Something did. I realized how much I looked forward to seeing you every morning. And when I didn't have a reason to come here anymore. I missed you." Her chest tightened. "Then why come back today?" He exhaled shakily. "Because missing you felt worse than being embarrassed about showing up without a destination." She laughed softly, relief flooding her. "You don't need a destination." He smiled, really smiled for the first time since she'd known him. "I'm Lucas," he said. She told him her name, Danielle. He repeated it like it mattered. The train arrived, doors sliding open with a soft chime. Neither of them moved. "Do you want to get coffee?" he asked, voice hopeful and unsure. She nodded. Yeah. I'd like that. They stood walking side by side out of the station. Their hands brushed once, twice, 3 times, until finally he took hers. His fingers intertwined with hers like it was the most natural thing in the world. Can I tell you something? He asked. Of course. I used to time my mornings so I'd get here exactly 2 minutes before you. I didn't want to seem obvious. She laughed. I used to walk slower so I wouldn't get here before you. He stopped walking. He turned to him. The morning light hit his face just right. Soft, warm, hopeful. I'm really glad I came back, he said. She stepped closer. I'm really glad you did too. He hesitated only a second before leaning in. The kiss was gentle at first, uncertain, searching, then deeper, warmer, full of all the mornings they'd spent wanting but never reaching. When they finally pulled apart, he rested his forehead against hers. So, he whispered, coffee? She smiled. Coffee. And maybe a new routine. He squeezed her hand. I'd like that. They walked away from the station together, leaving behind the platform where it all began. Not as strangers, not as almosts, but as something real. Something finally found. Something worth showing up for. Subscribe to the channel for more audio stories.